Hey friends, this is week 7 of our kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade art lesson. Now I realize that fall break is this week, so some of my classes do not get art class in our Google Meet. So that being said, this is not a graded assignment. So the kids who come into art class this week will get a participation grade, but the assignment itself will not be something you have to do because I know it's supposed to be a break, and if I make some people do it and other people not, that wouldn't be fair. So if you have art class, you're going to participate with us, and if you don't, this is an optional assignment, which means you can do it if you would like for fun. And it might be something that you can do during your fall break if you have some extra time. Remember, if anything in this video goes too fast or if you need to watch it again, you can always pause and go back as many times as you would like. Ask an adult for help if you need. This week we are talking about something called a scientific journal. Have you ever seen something like this before? Journaling is a really good way to get your thoughts down and remember things. So something that a lot of scientists do when they're out in nature is pick up different things and sketch them, especially the things that they want to learn about. That way they can remember and think about questions they have so that they can learn more about what they're studying. You can see that this artist wrote the name of the plant and also did little measurements so they could remember how big it was. Some famous scientists like Leonardo da Vinci did this also. Earlier today, I went outside and found some leaves. The ones over by my house aren't super different now, but we're going to start getting some really cool leaves soon. Do you guys know why leaves change colors? Inside of leaves is this green stuff called chlorophyll. And the chlorophyll is what helps the leaves, the plants to make their food. During the summer, they use the chlorophyll and the light to make the food. But when it gets cold, the plants start going to sleep for the winter so they can rest. Now, when that happens, they stop using the chlorophyll, so it goes away. And when the green part that is the chlorophyll goes away, it reveals all of the colors that are also in the leaf that were just being covered up by that green chlorophyll. That's why we have all of these cool colors. What I did was I went outside and I found some cool leaves. Now, if you're going to go outside, you need to ask an adult first and make sure you're safe. Also, make sure you're picking up the leaves that are falling on the ground. If you're pulling something off of a plant, you need to ask an adult that owns that plant first because you don't want to hurt the plant. And sometimes it can hurt certain plants if you pull leaves off. So make sure you're just finding things and being safe. This can be something fun to do during fall break too if you're outside with your family. So what we're going to do to start our leaf is we're going to put our writing tool somewhere near the bottom of our paper. And we're going to do a curved line up. Once you do your curved line, we are going to find some place along the line and do a little line out. And then on the other side, we're going to do another line out. They're a little curvy, they're not very straight. Now the ones on the bottom are going to be a little longer. But as we start adding them, the leaves that get closer to the top are going to start getting shorter and shorter and shorter and so tiny at the very end that you can barely see them. Once you have all those lines, we can I want to go somewhere in the middle toward the bottom, and I'm going to do a really long one. After I do that long one, I'm going to do a few more little tiny ones, getting smaller and smaller and smaller toward the end. I'll do another line. I'm getting little lines going smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller toward the end. Now that I have all these crazy lines, do you know what they are? These are the veins of the leaf. Now, what I want you to do is you're going to put your writing tool down below all of your little veins. Now, we're going to draw a line that's going to outline all of our other lines. It's almost like we're surrounding or trapping the rest of our lines. Now we have a leaf. You can color your leaf however you want. A trick to coloring a leaf is you want to make sure you can always see your veins. So what I would do is trace your veins first with a color and press nice and hard so it gets nice and dark. Once you've traced your veins, you can go in and color the rest of your leaf. I'm making sure that I don't press very hard when I'm coloring the rest of my leaf and that I'm staying inside of my lines. Remember, a trick to staying inside of those lines is first outlining your shape that you drew and then using little circles coloring on the inside. Tracing on those outside edges and then coloring on the inside. I like to even go in and do a little extra color around my veins so that they stick out a little bit more. After you finish drawing your leaf, something that's fun to do is going out and finding the leaves outside. But before you do this, make sure that you ask an adult first. If you can't go outside, you can always look up on Google different pictures of fall leaves. Some of my leaves have changed colors already, and some of them haven't. Once you have your leaves, if you want, you can do what's called a rubbing, and I'll show you how. In order to make a rubbing, you'll take your leaves, pick up your paper, put your leaves underneath the paper, and then you try to find them, hold them in place, because if they move, it won't work. And then color over them. Now you have to make sure they stay very still, and if you press too light, it won't work. And if you press really, really hard, sometimes it's kind of hard to see also. But you can play with it and experiment like the scientist. That way you can figure out how to make it work. All right, I'll try it one more time. I'll take my leaf, pick up my paper, put my leaf under my paper. You can see where I'll have to press down so I can feel where it's at. And then I can do this. Now remember, you don't have to do rubbings. This is just something fun that you can do to add some extra details to your picture if you want. While I was working on my scientific journal page, I decided not only to draw my leaf, but add some rubbings, and I even taped some of my leaves inside. You don't have to do this. The only thing that I'm looking for are that you completed your objectives. Otherwise, your artwork can look however you would like. Just make sure that you finish those two objectives, which are, number 1, that I can draw one long line and draw little tiny baby lines coming off of it. And number 2, that I can surround all of my lines with another curved line, making the organic shape of my leaf. Sus objetivos. Número 1. Yo puedo dibujar una línea larga y al menos 10 líneas cortas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 y más. Número 2. Yo puedo rodear mis líneas con una línea curva. haciendo la figura orgánica para mi hoja.